Your body is incredibly good at repairing itself. A skinned knee quickly fades to just a memory, and if you give that runny nose a few days a rest, you'll be able to breathe through it in no time. But one big problem that your body often cannot fix is cancer. Without treatment, cancer will keep growing and spreading until it kills you. Thankfully, we have many cancer treatments. We have chemo, radiation, immunotherapy, and those things save millions of lives. These therapies are pretty much your only option for surviving deadly cancers. However, there are a few cases where something truly remarkable happens. Doctors have reported some rare instances of tumors shrinking or even disappearing without treatment. Getting to the root of this medical marvel could help more cancer patients in the future. That is, if we ever figure out what the heck is going on. So here's what we know about spontaneous remission. The idea that cancer might heal all by itself has been around for a long time. The first mention of cancer pulling a vanishing act shows up in the Ebers Papyrus around 1550 BCE, and perhaps the most famous historical example dates back to the 13th century. As the story goes, an Italian priest called Peregrine Laziosi had a tumor in his leg that required amputation, but his tumor miraculously disappeared before his surgery. This miracle earned him the title of the patron saint of cancer patients. Then, in 1813, the French physician Arsène Hippolyte Vautier claimed that tumors in cancer patients who were sick with gangrene sometimes mysteriously shrunk. Around the same time, other physicians also wrote reports about patients with incurable cancers who miraculously recovered after becoming ill with some other disease. This is not a whole lot to go off of, but medical reports from the last 200 years do seem to confirm that cancers sometimes shrink or go away without treatment. Now, I assume you know this, but I'm not saying that this happens often. Cancer patients should not bank on spontaneous remission as a solution to their life-threatening diagnosis. These cases are exceedingly rare. A generous estimate puts spontaneous remission happening in only 1 in 60,000 cancer patients. And since it is cancer, even cases of spontaneous remission have been known to just be a temporary respite, with cancer coming back after a few months or years. So yeah, if your doctor recommends a cancer therapy, that's gonna be the best bet. Listen to your doctor. They will probably tell you it's still not clear why some cancers go away like this. That said, scientists have picked up on a few trends. For one thing, some types of cancers are more likely to exhibit spontaneous remission than others. Take neuroblastoma. This is a nerve cancer that mostly impacts kids under the age of 5. One study from Denmark found that up to 2% of Danish neuroblastoma patients experienced spontaneous remission. Other cancers that occasionally go away by themselves include kidney cancer, metastatic skin cancer, and leukemia. But when I say occasionally, I mean not often. As of 2013, there were only 76 well-documented cases of spontaneous remission in late-stage skin cancer in the world, and that includes all reports dating back to 1866. In all of that time, scientists have only started to build an understanding of what's behind spontaneous remission. Insufficient data really slows research down. But one thing they have noticed is that people who experience spontaneous remission have sometimes been exposed to tiny intruders, nasty viral and bacteria stuff. In 2023, doctors reported 14 cases of spontaneous remission in cancer patients who had caught COVID-19. Although, of course, if you have cancer, don't try to get COVID in the hopes that your cancer will go away. Cancer almost always increases your odds of dying from COVID. There are, however, safer ways to test this connection. Like in 1978, a 78-year-old man with leukemia who received the smallpox vaccine went into total remission. In another, more recent case, a patient recovered from skin cancer after getting the Tdap vaccine. So the link between infections and spontaneous cancer remission has been seen multiple times over the years, and researchers are trying to figure out why. But before we explore their various hypotheses, it is time for an ad break. All research needs funding, after all.
Thanks to our Presidents of Science for supporting this SciShow video. Harry Plumley, Charlie Stanley, and TJ Stein help bring you knowledge through their support on Patreon. And all of the patrons over there make a big difference in the quality of science story we can tell. With the help of our awesome patrons, we're able to have full-time staff who create animations that clarify complicated molecular interactions, chemical cascades, genetic manipulations, and all the other technical stuff we cover here on SciShow. Patrons also help employ the staff who answer the animator science questions to make sure what's what they've created is accurate. Really, our presidents of science help us pay everybody on the SciShow team for their work. And you can join them at patreon.com/SciShow. Donate responsibly.
Scientists have suggested that infections might help the immune system identify cancer as a problem. Sometimes anti-tumor treatments trigger the release of a bunch of tumor-related markers called antigens. When your immune cells recognize these tumor antigens, they might be able to find and attack the cancer cells. That's a possibility, but it doesn't explain all cases of spontaneous remission. Sometimes spontaneous remission happens without any sign of infection, like in cases where doctors witness spontaneous remission occurring after biopsies or other routine medical screening. It could be that the surgery or biopsies make it harder for cancer cells to get blood. And like vampires, cancer cells need a lot of blood to get by. So these interruptions might just starve cancer cells to death. There might even be a genetic reason for the mysterious disappearance of cancer. While the case is definitely not closed, the search for answers has led us down really helpful paths, like life-saving cancer therapies dating back to ancient Egypt. An Egyptian physician named Imhotep, not that one, different guy, suggested treating cancer patients by making a precise incision near the tumor where an infection could brew. Later, an American doctor worked off the same concept, using bacteria to treat cancer directly. In 1890, William Coley started injecting inactivated bacteria into patients with inoperable skin and bone cancers. Their prognoses were not good, but after this unconventional treatment, around 52% of his patients went into remission for 5 years, and another 20% were still alive 20 years after their injections. The Coley toxin, as it was called, was used to treat this type of cancer until 1963, but concerns about injecting people full of bacteria made some doctors skeptical about the treatment. Then there was the issue that to this day, no one fully knows why Coley's toxin works. So when chemotherapy and radiotherapy came around, many doctors opted to use that instead. But even today, researchers are still working on viral mechanisms to make your cancer go away. The FDA has approved a therapy called T-VEC that uses modified viruses to essentially blow up cancer cells. So if you go on the drug's website, there's a little asterisk on this description where the drug company admits they don't actually know how the virus does that. Still, this kind of medication could give hope to people with tough-to-treat cancers, thanks to ancient cancer medicine. Cancer remains one of the leading causes of death worldwide. Even at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, it was still responsible for around 1 in every 6 deaths. I think, obviously, the extremely rare instances of spontaneous remission don't mean that you can shut your eyes and reject treatment. Odds are, your cancer won't be one of the 1 in 60,000 cases that just disappears. But with some research and a little luck, this phenomenon might lead to more treatments that help more cancer patients in the long run. And remember, I know I can talk very confidently, but I am definitely not your doctor, so talk to them for any actual conversation about actual treatment plans.